So hello everyone. Uh, in this video we will study about the aggregate demand. Okay. So in 11th class in microeconomics we have studied about demand and supply, but here we will study about aggregate demand. Okay. So what does aggregate demand means? It's simple, very simple here. So according to definition, it refers to the total value of final goods and services which all the sectors of an economy are planning to buy. Okay, so remember this, there is a word here which we have to mark. It's called planning. Okay, so all the sectors, tertiary sector, service sector, okay, and primary sector, so all the three sectors are planning to buy. Okay, or we can say that the value of final goods and services which all the citizens of a country are planning to buy at a given level of income in a given year. Okay, so if there are 100 people and they are planning, they have not bought actually, they are just planning. Okay, there are 100 people and they are planning to buy goods and services of worth 100 rupees. Okay, so this 100 will be the aggregate demand. Okay, and it is also called aggregate expenditure because when we demand, we are spending something, we are purchasing. Okay, so it is also called aggregate demand or aggregate expenditure, both are the same thing. So what is aggregate demand here? The total value of final goods and services which all the people in an economy, in a country, are planning to buy, okay, in a given year. That is called, that value will be called aggregate demand. Okay, so here the components of AD is very important here because it is in the syllabus and it might come in 5-mark question, that define aggregate demand and explain the components of aggregate demand. So this whole thing might come in your exam in 5 marks. So and this is very basic, very easy because the components we have studied in previous classes, like previous class of expenditure method. We did expenditure method here. Okay, so we learned about the different components where the citizens are spending, where businessman is spending, where government is spending. Okay, so the components are same as the components of expenditure method, so both are the same thing. Okay, so just we have to revise, okay, because we have done already this thing, so we have to revise what are the components. So first component is private final consumption expenditure, means the citizens of the country are planning to buy the value of final goods and services which citizens of a country are planning to buy. Okay, these are the citizens, normal people. So this will be the component of AD. Okay, and what do citizens purchase, what do citizens demand? Okay, basic things, clothes, TV, food items, these things. Okay, so and this will be denoted as capital C. So this is the component of AD. Second component is the private investment. Okay, earlier we did it as investment expenditure, now we are learning this as private investment. Okay, the businessman, the total value a businessman is planning to invest. So how does a businessman demand? How does a businessman demand? By investing. Okay, so this is the same thing which we did in the expenditure method. Okay, now next thing is our government expenditure. So what does government demand, and or we should say what does government spend? Okay, on what things government make expenditure? So government make expenditure on the defense purchase, schooling, education, medical facilities, law and order, etc. Okay, so what is the expenditure? What is the demand of government? To make law and order, to provide medical facilities, to provide education facilities. Okay, and the next thing is the net exports. What is net exports? Export minus import. Okay, so these are the components of AD which we have done earlier, okay, deeply in expenditure method. Okay, so but in two sector economy, okay, but when we are studying about the two sector economy, we have to see only two components, which are C and I, means consumption done by citizens, and I means investment, consumption done by the businessman. Okay, so if we say what is the formula for AD, how we will calculate AD? By adding consumption and investment. Okay, so this is the formula for AD, and it will be used in next slide. Let's see how it will be used. So this is the table here, schedule here. Now if the question says what is aggregate demand, explain the aggregate demand with the help of diagram and table. So you have to explain the definition here, and you have to make the table and make the diagram. So this table you have to make by your own. Okay, it is pre-planned, so numbers will be fixed. You can change the numbers, obviously. You can instead of 100 you can take 200, instead of 100 you can take 50, but the gap between these numbers has to be same. Okay, there is a gap of 100 each. There is a gap of 100 each, so you have to put the gap of same level. Okay, otherwise you can take any number, you can start from 50, you can start from 20, it doesn't matter, but the gap should be same between two numbers. Okay, and this is the consumption here, you have to take by your own. Okay, it is not written anywhere, you have to take the numbers, you have to take the values by your own. So the consumption at zero level, the consumption at zero level of income means you are not earning anything, but you are consuming. Like the students of the school students or the college students, they are not earning anything. Okay, they are not earning, they are going to school, they are wearing clothes, they are eating. Okay, so that is the consumption for school students. So that consumption will be called autonomous consumption. Okay, so there is one thing here, the consumption at zero level of income. The consumption at zero level of income is called autonomous consumption. Why? Because that consumption is done for survival. When your income is zero and you have to consume, you are consuming, it means that consumption is for survival. Okay, so that you are taking education, you are eating food, you are wearing clothes, that consumption is for survival, because you have no income, but then also you are consuming, so that consumption will be called autonomous consumption. So the consumption at zero level of income is called autonomous consumption. This might be come in your exam in 1 marks, define autonomous consumption. So what you will write, the consumption at zero level of income is called autonomous consumption. That's it. Okay, and that autonomous consumption is denoted by C bar. Okay, the whole consumption will be denoted by C, but the autonomous consumption will be denoted by C bar. Okay, this is the symbol for autonomous consumption. So when the income increases, consumption also increases, so you have to increase the consumption. Okay, you have to increase the consumption by same level. Okay, mean the gap between two digits have to be same. Okay, not similar or not same as the income. The gap is 100, here the gap is of 80. So it can be different between income and consumption, but when it comes to consumption, the gap between different values of consumption should be same. So in consumption here the gap is of 80. Okay, 40, 120, 200, the gap is of 80. Okay, now investment, here we can see the investment is same, 40, 40, 40. Why so? Because this is autonomous investment. Now what is autonomous investment? The investment which is done for the survival, not for the profit motive. Okay, I am repeating this, the investment which is done for the survival and not for the profit motive, because when we are investing for the profit motive, then investment will be increased. Okay, but here we are investing like the fees you are paying for your school, okay, the rent you are, the house rent which you are paying, so that is investment. The school fees and rent is investment, so that investment is for survival, not for making profit. So the investment which is for survival and not for profit motive, that investment is called autonomous investment. Okay, now you have to calculate AD, means aggregate demand. So how you will calculate? By adding C plus I. You have to add these two, consumption and investment, and you will get AD. Like we will see here, 40 plus 40, 80, 120 plus 40, 160, 200 plus 40, 240. So in the same way, this you can calculate AD by adding C plus I. Okay, so this is how you will make the table, draw the table. You have to take the values by your own. Okay, now you can see here there are few basic things which I would like to tell you. Here you can see, when the income is 0, consumption is something. When income is 100, consumption is 120. Means here the first two values, your consumption is, your income is less than consumption. Means you are earning less and you are consuming more. Means you have 100 rupees but you are spending 150 rupees. So your income is less and your consumption is more. Okay, so this particular level, this level is called dis-saving. When your consumption is more than income, so what will be the situation of savings? It will be called dis-saving. Why? Because the extra amount which you are spending here, this 40 rupees, this 20 rupees extra which you are spending here, is taken from the savings. Okay, so it might be taken from your mom or your dad or any, but not from bank. So this saving will be called what will be the situation of saving? Well, what will be the state of saving at this level? Dis-saving. Okay, because you are taking money out from your saving, out from your gullak, and you are spending that money. Okay, so we call it dis-saving. This level of income is called dis-saving. Okay, so when we say when income is less than consumption, or when consumption is more than income, so what will be the saving? If this question arises, then you will say dis-saving. Okay, and when income and consumption are at the same level, means you are earning 100 rupees and you are spending 100 rupees, so that point, that level is called break even point. Okay, when your income and consumption are same, that point is called break even point. So remember this thing. Okay, this might come in your MCQ or in 1 mark question. Now here we will see the diagram here. So you have to first draw the table, then you will draw the diagram with pencil, not with pen. Okay, so you have to just mark the things here, the components here. Investment, so it will be a horizontal line because the investment is constant. Okay, now the consumption will be straight line, upward sloping at constant level because the gap between the consumption is same. The gap between consumption is same, so that's why it is upward sloping at constant level. It is rising at constant level. It is not rising this type. Okay, it is at constant level, which means, and why it is constant upward sloping at constant level, because here the gap between the consumption is same. Okay, now you have to draw the diagram of AD. So here it is 40, but here it is 80. So you have to start from the which point? You have to start from the 80, then it will go upward at a constant rate. Okay, so the difference between these components are also same. Okay, so if the question arises, it will come in 3 to 4 marks, that what is aggregate demand, explain with the help of table and diagram. So we have to write this thing. Okay, draw the table and draw the, and this gap is called autonomous consumption because there is zero income, but here it is some consumption. So this gap is called autonomous consumption here. Okay, so you have to mark few points. So you can label the table also, you can label the diagram also, so that it will give a good impression to the examiner, okay, to the checker. Okay, so here there are few points which you can mention if it comes in 5 marks. Okay, so AD curve has a positive slope, which means when income increases, AD also increases. So why AD has a positive slope? Because as the income increases, the demand also increases. Okay, AD curve does not originate from point O, means the AD curve is not originating from the point O. Where is the point O? Here you can mention, here I have not mentioned, but you can mention here it is point O, or we can say point 0, zero level of income, y axis, x axis. So why it is not originating from 0, which shows that even at 0 level of income, some minimum level of consumption is essential. So if the question comes in 1 mark that AD does not originate from 0 at y axis or x axis, why? So you can write the reason here, because at 0 level of income, some minimum consumption is essential. We have seen that here at 0 level of income, consumption is 40. Okay, so the consumption is for survival, it's necessary. That's why the AD is not originating from the 0. Okay, now investment curve is a straight line parallel to x axis. The investment is constant, that's why it is parallel to x axis. Because what is the reason here? Because according to Keynes, okay, Keynes was an economist, so according to Keynes, it is also called Keynes. Okay, so it varies from person to person, the pronunciation. So according to Keynes, the level of investment remains constant at all levels. So why it is horizontal? Because the level of investment is same. Why it is same? Because it is autonomous investment and it is for survival, not for profit motive. Okay, you can write this. So this is the basic concept of aggregate demand. The diagram, the schedule, components. Okay, you can explain, you can study the components in detail from my previous video of expenditure method. Okay, so that's all for today.